to talk about the rules of the group and the organizing, how to and discipline during the classes. So, rules. Why do we need rules of the group? Why can't just we tell people like, hey, shut up, why the fuck are you speaking Russian, you piece of student? And so on and so on and so on. So, why do we need rules? Obviously, to make them be followed. The thing is that if the teacher tells students what to do, they start to think that he doesn't allow them to speak Russian, he is not happy when they're late and so on and so on, not because there are some rules, but because he didn't like them. So, first thing that if you want to be loved by your student without losing the control of them and the discipline, you need some rules. So every time a student does something you do not like, you say like, oops, rules. Second thing, that students must create the rules themselves, and it will bring them to discipline, and it will start internal control, so control not from above, not from the teacher, but from inside. So a group will become a self-controlling structure inside. Okay, so that's it. How do we make rules? Well, what kind of rules we are going to make will be discussed later on, but now how we organize the process. First thing, that the rules must be made up by students. That's the first principle. Yeah, so how do you do that? First, just put them into groups. How to do that in a also in a proper manner, we'll be discussing another podcast, but generally you break your group into 2 subgroups. Well, maybe more, but I think the 2 is just enough, because if you have more groups, it will be more opinions, more time spent discussing the rules. That's good. So, make each of the 2 groups make a project of rules, and then discuss and summarize. So, you will be provided with the full structure of the whiteboard necessary for this exercise, like this. So you discuss, you summarize, you choose the final version of the rules. Then these rules must be written somewhere, like on a piece of paper, like a big one from a flip chart or a medium one, whatever. So ask an administrator for a paper. And then the rules must be signed. So both teacher and students must sign the rules. It's important that teacher follows the rules as well. I even recommend you to show this, like by breaking the rules, for example, say something по-русски, and then do the punishment for speaking Russian. That's it. So, the rules must be signed, meaning the students agree with the rules. Not like, do you agree? Yes, we agree. No, they will forget this in a week. The rules must be signed, and the rules must be somewhere where the students are able to see them. Every time somebody breaks the rules, you just do this. Oops, rules. Nothing personal rules. That's it. It's very important for the discipline, where it's nothing personal, because otherwise you will be tolerated as a tyrant or sadist who wants the poor little students to perish. No! And to suffer. No. Nothing personal rules. Okay, so how do we do that? So you break the students into 2 groups. Imagine like two groups are sitting in front of you, and you tell them, guys, you need to make up some rules. So you leave some space for let's say group 1, group 2, and here you draw what kind of rules are needed. So rule number 1, the rule about the time. I actually recommend you to use the pictures, it's even better. And this thing works on any kind of groups, from elementary to to even advanced, and for the beginners, there might be some difference due to like the Russian language, but it's also moderatable. So rules about time. It's about coming on time, and each rule must have a punishment for breaking it. It's not so let's come on time. It's not a rule. Let's be never late. It's not a rule. A rule is if you come late, then we'll discuss punishment a little bit later on. So rule number 1 about timing, about following the schedule, about starting the class on time. If you're late, you must be punished. Rule number 2, I call it a rule about the concentration. So concentration on what's happening during the class. People who break this rule are people who use their phones too much, like texting with their friends or checking their messages. People who are speaking to each other not on the topic of the lesson. People are just not concentrated, like, I don't know, doing something or reading something and so on and so on and so on. So doing not the things that must be done during the class. That's it. And of course, the ringing phones are also about this rule as well. So if your phone rings, if you are in your phone and so on and so on, you lose the concentration and there must be some kind of punishment. And of course, the rule number 3, the restriction number 3, I would say, this will be Russian language. Yeah, it's funny when you do it like this, students ask, why the hell do you, like, yeah, it's because of Russian. So, on all the levels, elementary and above, no Russian. Nobody speaks Russian. If they speak Russian, they are punished. And by the way, all the rules apply not only to the class time, but they apply during the break time as well. And all the time students are on the school's territory. So if they come to speaking club, the rules apply to them as well if there are no other rules. And I say it as a joke, but still, like, rules are like, don't speak territory is 2 meters around me. So you may say the same things to your students, saying like, 2 rules around me, you speak Russian within 2 meters, get punished. Okay, so these are the rules. Also, I recommend my groups to make up some traditions. So it's not restrictions, it's not like you cannot do something, but it's still kind of a rule everybody follows. So it's something like, let's do something. So we have traditions. So you may enumerate this 1, 2, 3. So traditions. Something we start the class with. It's important for like group dynamics and the mood and so on and so on. Something we finish the class with. Need for the same thing. And like rule number 6 is the rule about just what they want to speak about. If you think that your students are creative, or there are lots of students that have already passed a level of previous level here, then maybe you can make rule number 7 that is free as well. So they might be creative enough. So that's it. Let's discuss the rules and the proper punishments. But before that, so this is the structure. Each group makes rules and punishment for all these points, and then they write it and present their rules. Like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes for preparation, 5 minutes for presentations, that's enough. Yeah, then after all the groups have presented their versions, you discuss it with them. What is good, what is bad, what punishments are good, what punishments are bad. You may ask them or give them feedback why this does not work or this works. During their discussions, please participate as well, because students, especially in the beginning, they have very high level of enthusiasm and they make up some really crazy punishments. So the rules must be realistic. So, and the punishments must be realistic. It's not like if you speak Russian, we will kill you, or like we will stab you in the face for every Russian word said. No, it's not real. They will write it. They will agree with that. But when you say like, okay guys, you broke the rules, somebody go and stab him in the face, nobody will do that. They will say like, hey teacher, you crazy. So, moderate the rules. They must be realistic, and the punishment must be realistic as well. Okay, so about punishments. Good punishments and bad punishments. So, punishments for coming late. What are bad punishments? It's like sing something, or I don't know, dance, and so on and so on. Because singing and dancing, actually, they are bad punishment for almost everything. Because when somebody breaks rules, usually that distracts the group from its regular activities, and if somebody starts dancing or singing, then distracts them even more. And if a person is late and comes in with a song, oh my god, it will take even more of group's time if he's late. So, the good variance. And yeah, the good thing for all the rules is that, well, it's my recommendation about punishments, I would say. Punishment must be applied almost at the same time when the rule is broken. But, well, in the case of coming late, other things might work. So, good rules for this may be paying money. I have gathered approximately 200 rubles from my students of like pre-intermediate group that have been coming late. So we had like a tariff, 1 minute, 1 ruble. When I came into the classroom, I started the timer. Everybody agreed that I start the timer, and if you come late, they knew it. You pay like you're 20 minutes late. Okay, you pay 20 rubles. Why not? Actually, 10 rubles per minute. I think it's too much. Nobody will pay that much money. And the thing is that this rule will demotivate students to come, like when they're too aggressive and too strict, because students will think like, okay, I'm late for 20 minutes, I'll have to pay 200 rubles. No, I'd better do something else. And this is not good for us. Okay, so it was rule number 1. Rule number 2, a little show. So that is like 10 seconds long. I've been doing it for like 2 levels in my groups, and intermediate, upper intermediate works perfectly. You come in as a somebody. Well, as an animal, for example, a specific kind of animal. It's a little, so preparing to the people who are coming late, it's a nice warm-up for the ones who come on time. So you say, okay, it's time for us to start. It seems to be people are late. Okay, guys, let's think about animals that will be the punishment for our late comers. So, coming as an animal, or I don't know, coming as a drunk person, coming as a somebody. So you just make a list before you start, and somebody is late. Okay, come in. You are, I don't know, a kangaroo, and person jumps in as a kangaroo. 10 seconds. Everybody was distracted. Everybody had fun, and we get back to the class pretty easy. Okay, variant number 3, bring something. It worked in one of my groups as well. Bring something, but not when you are late, but next time or during the break. So not now, because if person is late, person goes to buy something, person is late even more. That's not cool again. So next time, but if you want to make a punishment that applied not immediately, not instantly, then mark them in the student's attendance sheet. Like, okay, next time this person brings something tasty, for example, some fruit or some cookies, and so on. It works pretty nice if it is marked. If it's not, it doesn't, because students do what they are let, and if you let them come late and do nothing, they will keep doing this. If you let them to break the rules without being punished, no problem, they will keep doing this again and again and again. Okay, rule number 2, about the concentration. So, if your phone rings, or if, I don't know, something else happens, well, if your phone rings, we usually offer like dancing to the music of the ringtone. And well, it's funny, people usually switch it off, but well, this is one variant. Variant number 2 is when you're caught with the phone, like the phone just is taken, put somewhere where you can see it, but you cannot use it, and that's it. So phone deprivation. And if somebody is not concentrated, like speaking with somebody or someone, I recommend it to make it a rule that somebody might throw a toy at this person. We have toys in all the rooms, so you just take something and throw it at somebody. That's it. Okay, so deprivation or and is okay as well, or like throwing something. Then speaking Russian. Bad rules. It's like, again, learn 5 new words, teach 5 new words, prepare some new words, tell a story, a poem, a song, or whatever. This punishment is not cool, again, because it is hard to connect with the fact that somebody speaks Russian. So, the best thing, I think so at least, it is physical punishment. 2 squattings is okay, or like push-ups if somebody volunteers to do that. But really, like 2 squattings for 1 word, it is the thing that really works in all my groups ever. Nice, easy, funny, everybody can do that, and so on and so on. And it's still a punishment. Yeah, one more little detail about bad punishment. Punishment mustn't be very funny for the person who is being punished. So once one of my group offered me like, okay, let's make it a punishment when somebody must go to another group and hug somebody. Come on, it's cool, go and hug somebody. Everybody will break the rules. So the punishment mustn't motivate students to break the rules. So physical punishment. If you have beginner group, no problem again. I recommend you make like Russian time and English time. And this rule applies only during the English time. So when you, for example, need to explain something, some rules and whatever, no problem, everybody speaks Russian, but once you stop this time, you can do it by writing the language of communication on the whiteboard, or prepare a paper with the word like Russian, on the other side it will be English. That's it. So this rule works only, but for the beginners, works only when it is not Russian time. Remember, this rule applies to the students in the breaks as well. Okay, that's it about the restrictions. Now about the traditions. For beginning, it might be some like warm-up, some welcome thing and so on. So for example, one group we made a cool rule that if you see that somebody comes in without a smile, everybody can say like, smile, this person has to come back and come in smiling. Of course it applies only for students who come on time, not for the ones who come late. That's it. So it might be a rule about smile. It might be a rule about some hello that students who come on time, for example, have to high-five everybody in the room and so on and so on, etc., etc. So up to you and your students' creativity. So it's more like a tradition, something about team spirit and so on. The same thing for finish. We have like collective hugs, we have high fives, we have like different goodbyes and wishes in the end. So like goodbyes, it's interesting when people, and different hellos can work as well. But goodbyes are better because people who are leaving understand what happened and which goodbyes were already used. So if first person says goodbye, the second person cannot say goodbye. He has to say like see you. That's good because many Russians know only one word like about that something is good, and they say good for everything, for getting brilliant, amazing, awesome, nice, etc., etc., etc. They use only one goodbye or bye instead of like see you, with all its variations, have a something, etc., etc. So different goodbyes and maybe some wishes, like I wish you good luck. That's usually all that a Russian student can wish. But good luck, have a nice something, etc., etc. For example, one of my students kept wishing like, have a date. Have a date. I wish you to have a date, she said, every time. Okay, and these rules are up to the group. So that's it. Remember, when the rules are made up, you choose the best variant from the columns, and then the rules must be written, and the rules must be signed. So I recommend my students to sign it like this. So to write their name, to write I agree, or vice versa, like first I agree, then name, then the date, and then like sign it. Whatever. So that's it. I hope this will help you to control the students and provide good discipline and a lot of fun during your classes. That was Andrew Gulaev. Good luck. Goodbye. Wish you to teach in an awesome